Hello, my radiant rebels. Today we're talking about women who did something outrageous, scandalous, even criminal. They asked for the vote. Yes, apparently wanting a say in your own government was once considered terrorism with accessories. Welcome to the suffragettes, rebels with a cause and great hats. No, one before we could vote, we had to beg picture the 19th century. Men decide everything: taxes, wars, and the appropriate circumference of a woman's waist. Women can own lace, but not property. We can raise the future prime minister, we can't vote for him. Enter the suffrage movement. In Britain, Millicent Fawcett, polite and strategic, the Let's Write a Letter faction. And then came Emmeline Pankhurst and her daughters saying, "Letters. Darling, we're bringing the matches." 2. The birth of the badly behaved lady. The Women's Social and Political Union, WSPU, was founded in 1903. Their slogan, "Deeds, not words." Translation, "We've tried the polite thing. Now we're going full rock concert." They smashed windows, chained themselves to railings, and occasionally handcuffed themselves to politicians, which sounds like an early form of performance art. When arrested, they went on hunger strikes, forcing the government into the world's least romantic feeding sessions. So the state responded with something called the Cat and Mouse Act. Yes, they literally named a law after a Tom and Jerry episode. The government would release starved suffragettes to recover, then rearrest them. Cat, mouse, hat, 3, meet the international sisterhood. Meanwhile, across the pond, Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton lectured so long that people developed feminism and sciatica simultaneously. Sojourner Truth stood up in 1851 and thundered, "Ain't I a woman?" A question so good the patriarchy is still buffering. In 1893, Kate Shepherd led New Zealand's first successful campaign for national women's suffrage. New Zealand looked around, shrugged, and said, "We'll just go first then." Iconic. In Sweden, Kirsten Hesselgren became the first woman elected to the Riksdag's upper house in 1921. We love a Scandinavian overachiever, foreign fashion as weapon. Let's talk aesthetics. The suffragettes knew PR before PR was a thing. Their brand colors? White, green, and violet. White for purity, green for hope, violet for dignity. Conveniently, the initials spelled WG5, or as they whispered, "Women get votes." They marched in crisp dresses, hats tilted, and sashes that screamed rebellion in satin. They made feminism look fabulous. Because if society insists on judging women by appearance, then fine. Let's weaponize the wardrobe. 5. The media meltdown newspapers called them hysterical, unladylike, and my favorite, a menace in petticoats. Imagine being so powerful you terrify the empire, armed only with a hatpin. And when one activist, Emily Davison, threw herself in front of the king's horse at the 1913 Derby, the nation gasped. Not just because of the tragedy, but because it shattered the polite illusion that women would wait patiently forever. Emily became both martyr and meme decades before hashtags. 6. War, votes, and rewrites. World War I changed everything. Men went to the front and women ran the country. Factories, hospitals, and even parliament typing pools. When the war ended, it was impossible to pretend women were too delicate for democracy. In 1918, British women over 30 finally got the vote. Yes, over 30. Apparently, wisdom only arrived after one's third decade and 2 births. By 1928, it was extended to all women over 21. Cue fireworks, champagne, and slightly smug knitting circles. The U.S. caught up in 1920 with the 19th Amendment. France in 1944, Italy 1946, Switzerland 1971. Yes, 1971. Let that marinate like a disappointing fondue. 7. The rebrand of feminism. The suffragettes weren't saints, they were strategists. Some excluded working-class women and women of color. Progress, as usual, wore uncomfortable shoes, but their movement cracked the political ceiling open, and through that crack marched every later generation of women demanding equal pay, reproductive rights, and a seat that wasn't folding. Modern feminists owe them our microphones, our outrage, and our right to block politicians on Twitter. 8. Fun facts they don't teach at school. The first suffragette board game was Pank-a-Squith, in which you raced to Parliament while dodging police. It was basically Monopoly with more civil disobedience. Winston Churchill was once heckled so relentlessly by suffragettes he had to flee out a side door. And in 1910, activists tried to deliver a 30,000 signature petition to Parliament, but men literally ran away from them. Imagine fleeing from clipboards and corsets. 9. If they could see us now. Today, we vote, run companies, become prime ministers, and yes, argue on the internet about oat milk. The suffragettes would probably say, "Good start, now keep going." Because the mission was never just the vote, it was voice, and that fight continues, from representation in politics to pay gaps, to the casual sexism hiding behind just a joke. They fought the law lost, eventually. Closing rally. So next time someone calls you too loud, remember, silence was never what won rights. Next time someone says feminism is over, remind them, neither is patriarchy. And next time you put on lipstick or a hoodie or a power suit, know that you're wearing the legacy of women who refused to disappear. They were rebels with a cause, and the best-dressed revolutionaries history ever saw. I'm Dr. Doitall, signing off with the same advice the suffragettes would have given. Stand tall, vote louder, and never underestimate a woman in a good hat.